They could be going for a big AoE combo in the team fight, but you need something early on that can make use of the Iron Shell as well. What do you think you're gonna pair for?
I mean, I would have said Earth Spirit, but Crit is their Wisp player. But one time in the past, I have seen Fly pick up the Earth Spirit, but can you think of any other good candidates that might fit the Iron Shell early?
Spirit is not a hero anymore. He's gone.
Come on. And he's right here on my jacket. What do you mean he's not a hero anymore?
He'll stay there.
He's gone for sure.
I think you can just take a lot of different melee cores to enable that hero anyways. I think the biggest thing is that it relieves a lot of pressure from the IO just because you're almost always going to have 2 or minimum 3 heroes up at top to deal with the Darkseer to try to enable Dro Ranger's laning phase. And for TNC, I do like this opener. Remaining. It's very aggressive. It's something that a lot of teams got really comfortable with just running the Dro. And for them to kind of represent saying, oh, you just ran it wrong, we can still win with it is ballsy by TNC.
I haven't seen TNC run it a whole lot, but like this could be a really decent Storm game already for Puku. But I'm not sure whether they play it or not.
At this rate, you're just saying that because Blitz is here on the panel, and we always see a Storm whenever he's here joining us, but you're right. There is potential.
There's a possibility for later.
I think against Darkseer and IO, he's very good actually because neither of those heroes have hard lockdown. The burst damage isn't even really there for you as a Storm Spirit. We saw it earlier today in 2 games. I felt like they were both games that should have been successful. We saw a very good game from Sumail. That hero can still do what it used to as long as you get to that 3-item timing, but for TNC, I think it's a little bit too early. At earliest, they probably pick it 4th or 5th. Biggest thing I think is once you see what the second support is. If OG don't pick a stun, that's what's going to enable your Storm.
And second support, I think SD has to be on the table here as well. Of course, OG removing Beastmaster is natural, but now the SD is another like first pick material for some teams. And TNC really played well, and it goes with their draft as well. So are OG gonna deny that, or do they not worry about SD here?
Usually, when TNC picked SD really early was when they prioritized the illusion heroes like Hero Blade, even Naga Siren occasionally. I'm not sure they run a lot with Drow, and I'm not sure how good Vengeful and Shadow Demon are together for them because they like to be like really aggressive. But it's definitely like a very good choice, especially against Darkseer. Like he can't lane against the lane at all.
It also works in team fights later. When Darkseer tries to search away anyone, if you're quick with the perch, it has amazing cast range. You can just hold him there. But we'll see if they want to go for it. It's definitely, I feel it works pretty well with their starting picks.
What do you think about the ban on Naga? Is that just saying like OG might go for it as like a we really need to get a win kind of a thing? I know OG have ran it as a support in the past, but that was crit, and they already have a Wisp, so I would figure that TNC are banning it in the respect that it's a core Naga.
Yeah, I think in a game like this, big thing for TNC is they want to try to make sure that this is going to be a familiar game to them. There's not a ultra superior late game hero as Joe Ranger does kind of struggle with that Radiance Naga Siren, but for me, the biggest question mark is what OG decided to go for Miracle, because he has lost with the heroes that previously OG probably thought were untouchable. The one hero that they were successful with so far in this tournament was that Invoker, which I kind of think that they want to go for, considering why would you ever go out without letting your player play his best hero?
We also can't forget Huskar is actually still out there.
Yeah.
Is that a concern at all? We have actually, I don't believe, seen it yet on the main stage at all. But eventually, you forget about him. Pops out.
Right now, OG are in those shoes, right? They're sitting there with the Wisp and Darkseer and going, oh, we don't have stuff against Huskar, and right now, they could very well pick it on the side of TNC. So your next pick here, look towards heroes like maybe Timbersaw, actually, pretty good at chasing down after a Drow, and also would be great against a Huskar if you're going to have to play against that. You just need pure damage to be added right now. And also interesting that Void is not picked up, so TNC have a great offlaner as well available as a 4th pick if they want to.
For OG, I was just about to say, I really want to see a hero that can really abuse the Iron Shell a lot, and Ogre is definitely one of those heroes. He can just like ignite you and run you down. That's definitely a very good support for Darkseer to pressure the offlane. So we're probably going to see Wisp rotate between middle and safe lane, and they're most likely going to pick a safe lane that can like sustain himself for OG.
So, Will, it does seem likely that this Ogre is going to be going to Fly, as we expect Crit, of course, to play his Wisp because he's so damn good on it. But Fly playing that more aggressive, bouncer-like support in the early game, As opposed to where we normally seem like a
OG's
defensive
turn
support
to pick.
position. Do you like him on one side or the other, or do you think he's just that talented of a guy that he could do it both ways?
I think it's okay, but usually I like to see him on one of those saving supports or the ones that have to play the positional game. Ogre's a little bit more straightforward than that. It's not really a support that you want to scale ultra late into the
10
game with just
seconds
because
remaining.
his spells do become a little bit underwhelming. Bloodlust is kind of always okay, but
5
his spell
seconds
kit
remaining.
kind of does fall off after a little bit. But for OG right now, biggest question for me still remains, what do you do with
Reserve
your cores?
time.
You have your support duo available, TNC. We talked about the Storm Spirit still being a hero. Huskar potentially be a pick. They could just run Dro, something like mid.
I just feel that for OG right now, they need to make something that makes good use of the Bloodlust. We talked about Iron Shell and Ignite combo, but to me, it really feels like a Juggernaut game, but I don't know if he's going to be able to chase people down against this Vengeful with Swap, the Dazzle to Grave and save people, and then you have the Weave. The Omni Slash might not do that much if they get to prepare for the fight.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, my point's not relevant. I said whatever they pick, I hope it's blue or along those lines because
Good point, Dakota.
I mean,
that's my analyst.
I mean, you're right. Or they just go for a tiny that we haven't seen for a very long time.
All right, Tiny Wisp. We're going to go ahead and flip it back a couple of pages.
Yeah, I mean, OG Tiny Wiz Note was one of the first people to ever pick up that combo, and he definitely knows how to run it. He knows how to run it very, very well. His Tiny is one of the best in the
10
business, so
seconds
that's definitely
remaining.
one of the more aggressive combos, and I really like that they're running it. And that means they're gonna probably give
5 seconds remaining.
like No-Tail plays a hero, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, No-Tail is so
OG's
used to playing the
turn
Wisp
to
in that
bat.
combo as well. That's why he's so good at playing this.
Yep.
Because he, for years, played the Wisp with the Tiny, so he knows exactly what's needed from the Tiny and from the Wisp at different times.
But do you think then they're gonna put Miracle solo safe lane, or are they actually gonna put a hero solo
10
mid and then
seconds remaining.
Tiny Wisp safe lane?
I think they need to see the entire draft before they
5
decide
seconds
actually,
remaining.
because we don't really know what TNC have as their second important core here.
Reserve
Void is
time.
often, you only know the Drow Ranger. I think they need more info.
It could potentially still be carry Void as well with a Drow in mid, and maybe pick something like an offlane Prophet, still possible, to ramp up the push power.
I'm just scared. Void doesn't really want to lane against the Iron Shell, so I think you still want to go for something like the Drow against Darkseer pairing if you're TNC right now.
OG's turn to pick.
But they have a lot of different options, and Invoker does get removed.
TNC's
Okay,
turn
okay.
to pick.
I mean, it doesn't make use of the Bloodlust, so you really only have one hero in your team that makes use of the attack speed. The movement speed is nice, I guess, for everyone, though.
Does mean TNC, they don't have the best disables for this Ember Spirit, just because if he gets
10
maybe 2
seconds
items, he's going to be
remaining.
pretty mobile, especially with the Blink Dagger. For them, it's going to come down to the Faceless Void's Chrono,
5
but
seconds
oftentimes if
remaining.
the Ember spots any sign of it, you can instantly get out. I think TNC need a mid-hero that can gap close,
Reserve time.
or at least get to the same kind of scaling range as an Ember Spirit, because I think TNC, just in case, want to be able to go to the late game with OG.
I'm just a bit afraid for OG because if the laning phase doesn't go really, really well for them, they won't have enough damage to deal with that push.
Oh, there he
Oh,
is.
God.
There. I know that face so well. He's to cheese it away into the next round.
Tiny, when he gets really strong, can do somewhat okay, but at the same time, I think Ember is too slow at dealing with Huskar. I think TNC can actually do this.
Yeah, I spoke about OG's lack of damage, and now that Huskar's there, I feel like it's even more true than before. So I actually think TNC have the better draft, and they might actually take this 2-0.
Yeah. I never expected to say it, but I think TNC might shut out.
Wow, will they be the new Orange Esports of TI3? We'll have to find out. We'll throw it over to our casters right now. It's Toby Wan and Merlini. Take it away.
TNC are pulling out one of the Classico with their Tiny and Whisk combination, combining it with Moon's Darkseer. Both teams have a lot to work with, but the panel seems to be pretty well tilted towards TNC.
They have the Huskar. We haven't seen it. We talked a lot about it, and we're like, oh, probably going to pick it. But, man, Toby, you've been blessed with 2 Drow Ranger games in a row.
Yeah, maybe this one's going to be a victor.
What do you think about that new Drow Immortal?
It's really, really nice, but be careful. It actually reveals your position. Just a small little warning with particle effects. Looking out for my fellow Dro players. TNC, very aggressive movement already. They instantly ward block up, and at the same time, okay, yeah, they get vision inside all over the OG jungle. They take out 2 of the camps very early on. They're going to see
30
OG's
seconds
maneuvers
to
very,
battle.
very closely. No easy stacks, no easy farm, no easy way for Moon just to abandon the off lane and get fast levels in the jungle. He has to play the lane.
Yeah, and I think also Ember Spirit's going to struggle a lot. I'm not sure if he has a place in this game with how fast-paced generally Drow lineups are, and even faster with a Huskar. Like, you want a battle period depending on the push, but you might lose the game before then.
Maybe that's when you look back towards the old school
battle
combat style builds you
begins.
get on Miracle.
Yeah,
I know
that's true.
BKB Desert was a very long time ago with the Ember, but
You might have to go Tread this game.
is that the way?
Treads or Face. We saw that a little bit last year, but it's overwhelmingly BOTs now, but I think in this sort of game you might need something else. I don't know, they have the Wisp.
Yeah, he's going to have the early help from the West. Like, normally we pair the Io and the Tiny together, but Notel we headed up to the top lane. Normally a little bit safer, but you also see the way TNC have moved their lanes around. They push the Dro and the Dazzle
Oh,
to
and they
this
find the
dual,
ward.
almost try-off lane with a roaming Vengeful Spirit, which puts the Faceless Void on the bot lane to start this off. And already OG, they're switching everything up. They bring their 2 supports up to the top lane and leave Moon going up against the Void. And in fact, Notel, are you... He's hunting into the trees to try and find Jimmy. He actually goes to the old school classic Jimmy Tide Hunter spot up in those trees, but he's not going to find him. Is that his fly? Well, he's trying to body block up Raven. Not enough control. It's actually a kill going on Miracle of all. It's the mid lane that finds the first blood. They're still chasing down Crit on the top lane. This OG safe lane will survive, but Miracle first blood? Ember was already going to have a hard enough a time as it is. Oh, the Avalanche, it connects. Demon, too low. The Shadow Wave, one more attack. It actually comes in from Crit to find it. VS makes his way up, looking for the stun onto Notel. He's already pretty low, and Raven, no cold arrows, no gust. He doesn't really have any disable and control of his own, just the damage buff up. So a quick rebuttal kill from OG.
Ogre is the man. He can just bully everyone out of this lane though. Even all the right click damage and Drow Ranger have had enough.
Switching. So Raven comes to the bottom lane. Faces Void will have to buy a TP scroll and go north. He wants to be matched up against Notel.
I think Notel's one of the best timings. His Wisp, like Wisp play, I think last year when he played support just amazed me. And he just knows the limit of this combination very well.
How's Miracle meant to be in this lane? Like, it's an under-leveled Ember Spirit because you gave away first blood, so you're a full level, almost a full level behind that of the Huskar. And then he does this. Pull the steering arrow stacks, you burn down, you are nowhere near a bottle on this Ember. And the Io was also not capable of rushing a bottle early on. So Crit doesn't have a lot of regeneration to give Miracle.
They can always kind of TP the Wisp in, and maybe with a bottle of a Wisp and the bottle of the Ember, you have like a quadruple bottle kind of with a tether. So it can be salvaged, just depends on whether they think the Io would be better suited in another lane, or they can just stack for him. He can take out some stacks with the Flame Guard. But yeah, the early lane phase is just an absolute nightmare dealing with Huskar on top of Huskar with Drow Aura.
I wonder if it was the greatest decision as well. Like, why not put the IO Tiny into the mid lane up against Huskar? Have that regeneration, have that rune control arrive for OG.
Just maybe thinking that Ember's like just needs the levels a little bit more. They can also stack much easier, I think, if the IO's in the top lane because of that Observer Ward is blocked out.
OG. Avalanche gonna start with, need to keep that combo going. Ignite really good up against the Faceless Void. Notel's looking for a toss back if possible, but he grabs the wrong hero. Sends Fly back over towards Crit.
Ooh, that's rough.
Like to have that chip damage maybe trigger the south. He goes again. Avalanche, TP support being baited out now from the Dazzle. As a throw up towards the air, faces Void, time walks off the damage, and with a Shadow Wave, Notel surrounded very heavily by creeps and heroes, so cops a lot from Demon.
Value sell right there, though. And TNC want to keep track of the stacking game. I think that's actually why they started off top, just to make sure that like they can invade the jungle very, very easily if they have a pre-support up on that top lane. Both supports, like they are in this top area, just realizing that, okay, the Wisp and the Tiny and the Ember are gonna need stacks.
Ace Rune. We saw Demon make the most out of it before. Fly, he's just harassing the Dazzle down.
Oh, they were just waiting for him. That was a trap.
Yep. And
But
he does not fall for it.
They had the Observer Ward.
Is Moon killing Raven as well? He doesn't. He actually had
Dire's
Surge
bottom
potentially
tower is under attack.
could have dived for it, but Moon's just happy keeping the turret ranger low on life.
Yeah, and Raven's not actually absorbing the XP from those large cams too, so Moon's gonna get way more from this lane. He's already one full level ahead of Raven because of the lane swap.
Raven still found a decent amount of CS. Obviously, the experience is also like the critical part for a turret ranger. You want that early level 6 is just going to amplify everything else the Huskar's doing the Miracle.
They don't have vision on the high ground, so with the cover of nighttime, Miracle can actually farm a decent bit, do level 3 Flame Guard, make sure that he still has a reasonable amount of HP, and I think the CS is actually pretty decent in this lane. 9 CS versus 25 Huskar. Like, Huskar sometimes like shut out the melee mid laner.
Sad situation though when you say 9 CS for a mid laner 5 minutes in is a good thing. And it could have been worse after that one death. It was very early on. And Notel continues to farm up. He's already completed up the treads. He looks like they got a bottle over on crit. All levels over on him too. Got to be scared of the time when OG come online with the relocate. Because Moon's also found a lot of levels, OG can look to try and take some fights early on, and in fact with the double smoke, Crit and Fly, they're headed down south for exactly that, but they may be too late. The VS is roaming around. Moon is like he was right between the fog of war lines. So you can stun up if you want to, but Fly will arrive, Crit will join, the Iron Shell, you put one onto the Ogre, need to slow down the VS with a gust from the turret range, they push them back, Cold Arrows as well, keeping them away, but then the stun, Vengeful Spirit's gonna burn up the Iron Shell, but the Shallow Grave from Demon, perfect time, Crit will die, the VS gets back in range of the safety of the Tier 1 tower, now a Demon who's still in a little bit of trouble, he will finally drop, Fly looking for more stuns as Moon makes a break for the tree line, Fly, he needs more damage with the Iron Shell, he's almost got it, Raven needs to run, he's attracted the creep wave into the troll, the bat is there, and it's a double kill for Fly.
Wow, it's actually so hard to see the Ion Shell.
He solo killed the Huskar. It looks like it was the heavy spirit committal.
Wow, that's a matchup that's like nearly impossible to win. That's like an 85, 90 matchup in favor of the Huskar. But and did you even know that Ion Shell was on the Ogre? I can barely see. I saw it with the buff.
It's impossible to see. Like the buff was the only way to look at it.
Yeah, and I think TNC might have actually been caught off guard by that. Like Dazzle ticked down because of that, and now OG with the firm control of the bottom lane, Observer Ward behind the tower, and mid lane. Yeah, this was supposed to be a nightmare matchup. Now the CS is up to 19.
It's still not a dream for Miracle, but it's the fact he could catch up enough that his net worth is behind by 600. And he's running a bottle. Bottom lane, a deep dive into Raven. 3 heroes from OG. Where's the TP support coming this time around? There's no TP over on Demon. They just let the No Ranger die. OG really taking advantage of this big strength they've got, aka life sustain.
The Ogre's a really big problem. Maybe like one top lane for them, maybe one bottom lane for them. And now mid lane, I guess, kind of won because Miracle already got a return kill. He's actually going for Cuckoo right now.
Enough damage just yet.
Radiant's bottom
Letting
tower is under
the
attack.
Flame Guard do the work.
And TNC's Observer Wards have been wasted. They've placed 2 in the middle lane, but Miracle really has not gotten any support and hasn't needed it seems like. And then they don't have any eyes on the bottom lane where OG are making all their moves and may just give a free tower.
This is some much needed gold for OG. This allows Notel, if he wants to be really aggressive. Is actually wondering how Notel wants to build this. Do you look towards the Blink Dagger early on? Do you look to build up more money? Is there an easier way to slip in? Like Shadow Blade is another item he's not on Tiny in the past.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Miracle likes to go Shadow Blade and Blink, so I think Notel might do the same thing. I think Silver Edge is incredibly good versus the Huskar. And I think the added burst from the Shadow Blade is also really good at killing a Faceless Void before he can Time Walk.
Speaking of Huskar, Huskar's roaming over. There's a Radiant Sentry Ward down. There's also a decent stack. He's gonna... Oh, they smoke, and the smoke instantly broke on Fly. So TNC understands the movement was coming from OG under the cover of smoke. They're gonna find their opening. In fact, it's gonna be TNC who finds it on Mooney. Had his surge up. The stun's not lasting long enough.
That level 2 surge paying off. Notel trying to go up there.
Cuckoo's finally revealed himself. He was missing from the mid lane. That's what OG was looking for. Got the Invis rune that allowed him to stay hidden. And Notel, he's going to toss in Fly, which will allow for the follow-up stun. They keep the control with the Avalanche and Cuckoo. They burn through him again. And OG, there's a reason why teams are scared of letting them have IO.
Radiant's middle
Let alone the
tower is
combination
under
with the
attack.
IO and Tiny. This is it.
I think another thing that might have contributed to Huskar losing the lane is actually not maxing out the Burning Spears. At level 7 he had only level 2 Burning Spears. He picked up the third point at level 8, but I think the damage is just incredibly good. You don't really need too much
Radiant's
magic
middle
resistance
tower is
because
under attack.
you're versus a hero that shouldn't really be able to get close to you.
If TNC have any
Radiant's
desire to
middle
fight that
tower
mid
has
lane, they
fallen.
needed TPs to come in earlier. Faceless Void was in a really good position for a chrono.
Well, Drow strat getting pushed in, not good.
Probably not. Especially when Raven's gone for like the heavy stat item build. Like double Wraith Band, still got extra circlet, miracle, easy maneuver. Can close the distance on a throw range with ease. And then actually leaves his spirit underneath the tier 1 tower on the top lane.
Yep.
And that's why ROG is coming. They want to take out another tier 1.
Well, they've gotten, like, this is
Radiant's
extremely
top
bad for
tower is
TNC.
under
Like,
attack.
they have a Drow, they have a Huskar, they were supposed to win probably all 3 lanes, winning 2 is fine too, but I believe they lost all 3 of them. And now, like, Miracle has
Radiant's
gotten past the
top
hardest part of the
tower
game
is
as an
under
Ember
attack.
Spirit, and you can actually go back to a normal build now because you're not actually scared of TNC snowballing
Radiant
out of control.
structures are
You're taking
fortified.
down the 3rd T1 tower, TNC can't put up a fight. Like, on the maybe off the back of a good chrono, maybe they can get some kills, but the normal trajectory of taking down
Radiant's
T1s,
top
the
tower
Roshan has
is
just
under
been
attack.
completely stolen away from them.
And I still can't believe we were looking at the draft from TNC saying, hey, this
Radiant's
could
top
really
tower is
work.
under attack.
Miracle getting solo killed early on by the Huskar. The early kills for TNC, things looked like they were working.
Port rotations were really strong, especially from Fly. Like having the early TP at the start, so he went to the top lane and neutralized the threat of the Metro Spear and the Dazzle, and then like going to the bottom lane,
Radiant's top tower
making sure
is
that
under attack.
the Dark Seer was safe. Like all these just really added up to OG having a huge lead, 5,000 gold.
Unbelievable. We're 11 minutes in. Huskar does have its armlet, so there's a little bit more survivability potentially from Cuckoo coming into the fights. They still haven't found a good use for that Chronosphere. They'll sentry up, look to smoke up. There is no vision for OG. In fact, they've only got one ward on the Radiant side of the river, and that's all the way down on bottom lane. Their best target is Miracle. At the same time, you always assume he's got a Spirit right behind him.
Yeah, I don't think Sam wants to go for this. Very high probability of the dodge coming out.
Problem, right? Yeah, your life break in and you're all of a sudden slide a fist.
Now they're gonna have to deal with the threat from Shadowblade on the Tiny coming up very soon. He just needs a couple hundred gold, and now like all those early observer wards have been taken down, so they can farm up stacks at their leisure.
Dream start for OG. They just have to hold at 5,000 advantage. We've seen them in this position before. And where are they going? They actually headed south. They're in front of Roshan, but TNC is very much grouped up looking for a fight on top.
They're just farming. They're okay with farming. The longer this goes, the worse and worse it gets for TNC.
Especially considering Moon is able to hold back this wave with some good iron shells. He's almost got enough full mech. A recipe in before he's even finished up the headbed
Dire's
or the
top
buckler.
tower is under attack.
And are they going to let it go? It looks like they're going to let it go. Miracle's
They're
still...
waiting for Tiny. Tiny's gonna smoke in. It looks like he has Bloodlust. He has Shadowblade. I don't believe TNC have any.
There's no
detections.
sentries. There's no sentries down. They won't understand that Notal's right on top of him. BS is in the tree line. Sons of Valor, they just toss the throw under the tier 1 tower. Darkseer all pretty use the damage from that to find the kill, and now Cuckoo. Life breaks up, a great chrono, catching 3 on the back line. This will give TNC a chance to Cuckoo with a shallow grave. He'll stand his ground, but that'll be brought down. OG, they may just have the sustain required to win this fight as they get the extra stun. Poor loss for
Dire's bottom
TNC.
tower is under
Miracle
attack.
arrives in the nick of time.
That was a really important point where he had an armlet toggle, and they killed him while he was armlet toggling, and that was just the end of the fight. Like it was a nice grave coming out, and he did a lot of damage. He was able to kill the IO, but if he dies immediately after the grave, they've lost the fight, especially with how far behind they are. Now they have BOTs up on Ember, they can easily split push and just take games around. So replay coming out, Drow immediately eliminated from the fight, not that big of a deal. Then Huskar, here we see the grave coming out, nice.
You thought,
nice leap.
you thought the chrono might have been enough for Cuckoo to do the work, but Miracle just like a quick jump out, so survivable. The iron shells are racked up as well.
I don't even think it's possible to armlet toggle through Flame Guard and and Ion Shell. So yeah, I don't even think there was any window for TNC to win the fight aside from maybe killing multiple cores during the Chronosphere.
TNC is looking for an opening of their own. They're going to loop around. Either that, they're hoping to take out Roshan. This will be very advantageous if they can complete it. And yep, okay, they're slipping in. Moon's in the neighborhood. He's going to break the smoke, so they realize that someone is out there. But that's also because the observer board is planted. They're doing it right under the nose of OG. Observers and sentries planted just in case there's any invis detection.
Well, the more behind you get, the more crazy risk that you take. There are 10,000 gold in the hole, and this would be a nice pick-me-up for Cuckoo.
It's crazy to think they don't know. Like, there's no chronosphere, so you wouldn't think at OG that they would slip in, but there it is. And you can see Mortal. It goes the way of the Huskar.
However, they're isolated. 3 of them out on their own. Moon.
He puts down the wall. He'll get a couple of illusions. The life break falls from Cuckoo. No tell in through the rear. However, Avalanche toss. Say goodbye to the Aegis. Immortal Demon already used the Graven himself. He was a couple of one-shoters. Won't commit them. And now Cuckoo. Sam, he has to let the Chronosphere go, but they're all outside of it. They can move over towards Moon, but then he surges in. He wants to fight this one. Miracle's already got a triple kill. There's none of his steering chains up for another 1 second. No way to toss him forward, but he'll have his spirit up if he wants to jump towards the Faceless Void. Time Walk is not ruled out in 1 second time, but Miracle gets there. The Time Walk will allow him to get back in range of the tier 3. So Miracle will just have to settle for a triple kill.
Only a triple kill.
Radiant's bottom tower is
There goes that
under
Aegis, and there goes any sort of pick-me-up that TNC might have mustered in the last couple of minutes.
Dire's top tower is under
OG will
attack.
systematically press their advantage, and like,
Radiant's
the
bottom
problem is
tower
like,
is
they
under
can't
attack.
5-on-5 right now because they're way too far behind the network, but they also can't split push because Ember Spirit with DOTs and
Radiant's
an IO
bottom
relocate
tower
and the
is
Shadow
falling.
Blade on the Tiny. Like, no one is really safe to farm out alone. Normally that's how you would get back in the game. Farm out, you know, try and play around the trees, TP out when you're thinking about gank you, put down some towers, but they cannot do that this game, not without incurring heavy casualties.
All they can do is 5-man and hope they find one hero isolated without OG. Like, heavy support coming in. You're always going to have 3 heroes. You just hope you don't have 5. Okay, Cuckoo. He just blatantly walks up to Miracle, trying to man-fight him in the mid. There was support there from OG. TNC are well aware of this because they still have those 2 obs wards down, which they put down for Roshan.
Oh god, the blink on the Darkseer and the silver edge rush from Tiny. Huskar is going to be completely useless, grave or no grave.
Sometimes cheese can go off. Why? Oh, Miracle, do you want it? He still doesn't have the Battle Fury completed on this Ember Spirit.
Well, coming in
Doesn't
from
wanna
behind,
fully-
no tail and crit.
Yeah, he's going to find the Ember Spirit in the tree lines. 1 punch and an Avalanche Storm, but it actually is enough. Combine it with a toss, just to be sure. Miracle, nice steering change. Cuckoo, Shallow Grave, very early gone. No Chronosphere, still on cooldown for another 6 seconds here. Shallow Grave wears off on Huskar.
They have to be careful with the blink Darkseer initiation, especially with that ward setup. TNC have no idea that there's this deep ward scouting them out. And if they like combo that with a Tiny, it's it's likely game over from there. So TNC, I don't know what they're gonna do about this.
The rock in a hard place. It's kind of the same situation OG was in game 1, except a lot earlier in the game. They lost momentum, they lost the lanes. That mid lane was looking really good for Cuckoo, like almost a full level above the Ember, but Miracle waited it out perfectly, and that
Radiant's
one
top
death he
tower
had to
is under
Cuckoo early
attack.
on has been his only death of the game. He followed up with 7 kills, 3 assists, no casualties, and the top 3 net worths easily belong to OG.
Uh-oh. Fly gets wind of this huge stack, probably communicating with his team about how to deal with this best.
It's like, Miracle, have you got your Battle Fury yet?
Nope, and no act on Tiny, so they can't take it out very easily, but they could jump them, maybe waiting for a scan around that moment, but
Need an Observer Ward on the hill, probably.
yeah, well, I think they know that they're about to take it right now. Draw Ranger with a Dragon Lance.
But
This
they
could be
still
the
ready to
time.
move.
Well, they can relocate from behind, or maybe they'll
Radiant's
just try and
bottom
drag them
tower is
away
under
due to the split push threat from Tiny.
Yeah, Nortel beating into that tier 3 tower on the bot lane while almost all of TNC is here, and in fact Cuckoo's abandoned it.
I think they might relocate him right now, though. Now that Huskar's gone, I think they can just wrap around from the side, but they need vision.
TNC's got the better vision, but in comes Miracle. Still no opening just yet, Nortel. Moved into that cover of the Silver Edge, walking right behind Cuckoo. There's no sentry ward, there's just the towers he'll have to rely on. And with a tether, he'll run in, Avalanche, throwing Cuckoo back out again. It's a good chrono position for Sam, but he's still waiting for it. Now he gets it. The Shadow Grid will keep Husker up. Ball hero Shimoji caught out. They try and swap into a safe position. Rain leads back in, rounds up with no-tell. Cuckoo can't hold it, however. There's too many iron shells up. There's still a 1-for-1 trade-off. Make that 1 for 2. As Vengeful Spirit will fall as well. Miracle copy too much damage from this Drow Ranger. Very, very low. Places Void needs a time lock as well if you can find this kill over on crit as the fight will separate. They're around the Ancients. The Sleight of Fist. This will actually keep Miracle out of the fight for a little bit longer until Void moves over. Not in range for a punch. It's crit down south. Miracle up north. He's turning around with the spirit damage to the Sleight of Fist. Demons even so low. They shadow away, but they bring down Miracle. And they'll bring down crit as well. TNC repelling OG. Moon lucky to survive, keeping out a little bit further up on the top lane.
They got just way too antsy right now. The Silver Edge didn't hit on the Huskar, so he actually wasn't gonna die from that, unless they stopped the supports from coming in. So that was the idea. Toss him back, make sure the support can't come in for the
Mid
grade.
lane, mid lane, they go again. The Silver Edge hit into the Faceless Void, and it wasn't the Huskar. And No-Tell has to run away. Silver Edge still on cooldown for a little bit longer, but they're trying to go for a quick pop. Didn't find one.
And Ember also didn't respect the gust from the Drow Ranger. Doesn't have a good way out of that at the moment, and will not for quite some time. And now TNC have free access to their Ancients. Good way to start.
An easy cleanup. Add more money into the Drows. Actually, finish up the Dragonlance. There's a Wraith Band on the ground. And that's because it's delivering an Igasha. Keep in mind that TNC has a big amplification of damage. Miracle looking for an opening in mid. Sentries are down. There's no one invising close. No observer wards as well.
It's hard
And
to
they,
relocate
oh wow, really? Really? Raven just slipped around to the side, almost to his farm, and the side of Fist Searing Chase didn't connect from Miracle. The chrono is up in 6 seconds. OG must be careful here. Might almost be worth. She doesn't have Surge. You've only got Greaves up. Now the tether forward. Crit does have relocate, but a 3-man chrono. Sam hits it. Miracle wants to try and fight, but they're probably going to lose. Crit knows the Greaves and the 1 charges. Raven finally gets it close enough to find the kill. The 2-for-1 trade off. They move around the dark wall. Miracle back in again. A double searing chain. They have enough. Tiny comes back in again too. Surged up, Iron Shell into Silver Edge. Where's that sentry? There are 2 of them down. They'll get the Avalanche. The stun is there. Sleight of Fist. It is going to be enough damage to get through the Faceless Void, but it throws on the back line, peppering OG down.
Wow, what team fight coming out from TNC. That was like one of those chronos that you're afraid, like if you miss, you'll hit 0, but if you hit it, you get 3 of them. That was just what they needed. And perfect gust coming out from the Drow Ranger too. He just waits for Miracle to overextend just a tiny bit. It's only level 1 gust. Well, actually now it's level 3, but it was only level 1 gust for the last 2 fights. And within that 3-second time frame, they were able to kill Miracle twice now. They recovered and then some.
Oh yeah, they were 11,000 gold behind, and now it's rapidly approaching the 4K of experience behind. It was just over 12,000 gold. It's up to 8. The comeback is real for TNC, but it is definitely not in full motion. You've still got a lot of things going the way of OG.
I think at a Roche you can count them back in the game. Until then, they're still kind of working up till that.
Well, Roshan's in 2 minutes. Your split push is going to get better too. Miracle actually finished up his BTs before he finished up his Battle Fury. But it looks like they're going to keep these side lanes pressured in and keep TNC looking behind themselves all the time. Oh, Life Break, not really going to have any effect as Miracle goes all the way back to base. No-Tell's also rapidly approaching his Aghanim Scepter, 2 grand away.
They still need more stacks for them though. They haven't really had time to stack the Ancients or really stack too many other camps. Been just a lot of brawling going on. That's also very useful for the Ember Spirit to accelerate his farm towards a Crystallis or whatever it may be after his initial Battle Fury. Although this game might be better to get Manta style common item versus the Gust from the Drow Ranger if you're scared of dying within a silence, which has happened to him multiple times this game.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Biggest choice in a bit for now,
Dire's
TNC,
structures are
to take out only their second tower of this game. 24 minutes in, the top tier 1 will fall. And Notel's down the bottom lane pressuring the tier 3. TNC must turn back.
I'm more curious as to what the Faceless Void's going to build. He has a fair amount of gold right now, and he has Vlad's right now, so his options are Diffusal, which is common if you actually need to do damage, but I don't think you need to do damage as the Faceless Void this game. He has a Drow Ranger and he has a Huskar. As long as Huskar stays alive, you have all the damage that you need. So your other options are Blink Dagger. You'll sometimes see a Shadow Blade to catch out the Ember Spirit, because Blink's much worse than a Shadow Blade, because you want to scout him out, and maybe if he doesn't expect that he has vision, you'll get caught out. What else could you see from Faceless Void? And you also see Scepter sometimes because of, like, they have to fight around the Chronosphere a lot this game, and they need to enable the Huskar to actually do damage. So, not sure which of the three best for him.
Bro knows exactly what she wants to buy. Hurricane Pike gets completed, already has the S and Y. And a lot of Drows go for more Aghanim Scepters, but this Drow, it's all about the Hurricane Pike.
X Maelstrom's like a late game build. Maelstrom's like a decent catch-up item too. Well,
the Spirit Jump from Miracle broke the smoke on Demon. So they realized that TNC is moving through the mid lane. Funny thing is, like, it would have broken everybody if they stuck to the original plan. Now, into Roshan. Where is OG? Where is the look? They just keep the flip push going. The ping's coming out. They have to realize what is going on, but how do you solve this? You got no easy way to sneak inside the pit apart from a slide of this, which is already done. The Observer Ward didn't see the smoked up TNC going into the pit, and that is another Aegis Immortal into the hands of TNC onto the Huskar.
I thought that was an okay time for them to fight. They just got the Battle Fury and Ember Spirit, they have the DD, but just not really having any vision inside the pit. TNC, 2 smokes for erosion. 2 great successes for them. There's no ET, no HOD carrier on the side of OG. They just don't have good way to get vision inside the pit, whereas TNC, they just parked the Huskar HOD creep inside of there to make sure that they knew when Roshan was up.
Your OG, maybe you're not really that sad about that. Like, okay, Aegis will come, but as long as the Ember can keep the side lanes pushed out, damage is TNC going to do to you? You're farming up nicely across the map. You're still finding your objective timing for items.
I think you're sad from that. Maybe not like gearing up, like, you know, following your route.
It's not like OG loses and then we all have to cry kind of thing.
It's more like they have to commit a lot on the Huskar, because Huskar is like the key hero in this fight. They're gonna throw like defensive swamps on him, Graves, Weaves, like step him out, around him. They're gonna do like so many things to Huskar to save him, and if you overcommit and, like, you know, they mess up one of his spells, and then he has Aegis, and then he survives, does his round 2 of whatever, you know, nonsense burning spears that Huskar does, then you're gonna lose the fight badly.
Which means you just have to wait it out. You keep all the side lanes pushed out. But TNC hasn't really, like, claimed OG's jungle. They're still moving through Ancients quite easily. Haven't seen the OG farm stop. If you actually look at the gold graph, it's swinging back down again in favor of OG, even after Roshan goes the way of TNC.
Yeah,
they're just making more out of the map.
They're out farming them for sure, but there's always that, like, one point in the moment in the fight, like, okay, are they going to actually kill Huskar? And then he might armlet toggle it, Intervit might heal him up through it, he might lifesteal through it, like, he's probably going to build a Satanic later. There's so many things that can go wrong for the fight that Huskar is like, oh crap, he was at 100 HP, he gets Grave, he intervits, and then he armlets up, and then he's suddenly at 1000 HP, and everyone has to turn tail and run. So I think really the key hero for this fight is Darkseer. Darkseer has to be the one to, like, blink in the back, vacuum the supports, so they can't actually keep their distance away. Like, he is the most important hero, I think, on OG. Maybe, like,
He finds the Vengeful Spirit, the Tentacons fall, but they still find the kill. Raven focusing on killing Crit. After getting a double silence, he understands that No-Tail's not really going to pop anything else on him.
No-Tail's also a really important hero in this, because he needs to make sure that they all keep, like, under-farmed, and they retain this net worth advantage through virtue of pickups.
Are they actually going to go through the top? Top picks up a Hyperstone, so increased attack speed to go along with that Aghanim Scepter and Silver Edge. Miracle's already got the lane pushing in. The tier 2 towers are going to be the easier target. The double iron shells from Moon already pushed the creep wave onto the tier 2 tower, so yep, No-Tail.
I don't know if you want to fight into the Huskar Aegis though. You have relocate, but the fight's going to last longer than 12 seconds. And Vengeful Spirit is dead, but only for a few more seconds. So I don't think they can claim the T2 tower off of this, unless Huskar is elsewhere. He doesn't actually have a TP score right now, so they can easily fight around his lack of mobility. They have eyes on top. They have a sentry ward as well to keep track of No-Tail. And they know that Wisp is hiding on the side. I don't know how they're gonna approach it though. Looks like Vengeful Spirit maybe like looking for a wave in a swamp. They know exactly where Wisp is this fight.
This is the reason why they're also sitting behind Raven. Raven is the biggest bait at the moment. The only upside will be, okay, the Creeway starts attacking No-Tail. He understands they got vision. The swamp out, relocate from crit. This will end up saving No-Tail. They were prepared for this, but you look down the bottom lane. Miracle is attacking the tier 3 towers. Moon's here to help him out. And the rest of TNC, they're still waiting for IO to return to the top lane. Too early on the gust from Raven. It won't matter. Crit will drop. But that bottom tier 3 tower now down to 276.
I think they actually should have committed to Chronosphere for that fight. Like Chrono on the left side, because they knew where he was. He walked right underneath on Reserve Reward and was hiding in the trees for quite some time. So you Chronosphere him, you just kill the Tiny, and then you kill the Wisp. Like not that big. The only problem is you have to commit Chronosphere, and you might miss because it's in the fog, but I think that would have been a much better plan than what happened. They had no plans to control the IO. Maybe they thought that like he might walk into a Chronosphere or something like that, but Crit was just waiting for that moment. Not worth all that damage on your T3, and on top of that, the Aegis is going to expire. I think you could just use the Aegis to like tank a push in case they try and push when Chronosphere is down.
20 seconds on it, that's all. Not enough time to do anything. OG is all away from that Aegis. Things. A sentry one on bottom lane. Cuckoo's just far enough away that if No-Tail considers it, he could make a run. He'd actually have to go into Silver Edge pretty early on, primarily because the Observer Ward will have a very close look at him. Also note too, that Roshan's going to be a very quick spawn within the first 10 seconds of the 3 potential minutes of Roshan.
And this time the HOD creep is sitting right next to him. His trusty little Cardi at his side.
Convert from OG.
They don't have anyone to relocate in, so this is like a... they're just waiting for perhaps more people. And Miracle has another double damage, so this next fight could go really poorly for TNC.
He's also finished his Manta. It's coming on the Courier.
Oh wow. I don't know, I got so much farm after the Battle Fury.
They gave him space. Like, when was the last time we saw TNC really pressure OG? OG being freely moving wherever the hell they want. TNC are only now, like 32 minutes in, taking this tier 1 tower on the bot lane.
Radiant's middle tower.
It looks like a big objective, but that's only because it's a very easy one. And then mid lane, No-Tail's pushing in, Miracle's coming through the top. You take the tier 1 and you already got to back up. Unless you want to have heavy damage done to your buildings.
Void perhaps looking for a Chronosphere.
BS can't get there in time. No-Tail being very defensive. Bottom lane, Miracle. He gets it with the double damage to work. Mana style sends the 2 illusions back over the creep. And then Spirits away up to the top lane.
Now Demon Creep is caught out by their lonesome as their TP's worth of rotated back, and they are just dead.
Man, Moon was the bait. Cuckoo tried to turn on the damage, but it's too much. This is the problem when OG can bring in so much support so quickly. Creep generation, Moon almost impossible to kill Greaves, as well as having a Lotus Orb.
They're limited on spots right now, at least on the Huskar. It's not really ideal for him to walk around with the TP scroll if he can have an Aegis in his inventory, but at the same time, now they're getting picked apart by the split push. Like, Tiny does a lot of damage to towers, and Ember does too if he has like double damage. Can't really ignore it anymore, especially with the T3 already down on the bottom lane, tops at half HP. Like, the base is kind of in shambles.
You went for me? I'm gonna Blink Dagger for crit on an IO. Tether is just not enough range for him.
You can do the super long tether, or like the... I'm not sure if that Wisp trick was patched, but you like tether and then you blink at a specific time and then you have like a double tether range. I don't really play Wisp. Maybe I'll start once the Arcana gets voted through, but right now, like I've seen it done before, but I don't exactly know how it's done or the mechanics of it. Yeah, I don't even know if it's still in the game, but I definitely saw it at one point.
We might get a perfect example from Crit in just a bit, so we can keep our eyes on him.
Yeah, it's also probably likely to just dodge a Chronosphere or dodge a Huskar ulting at him. They don't really have a good way to stop blinks at the moment. Nothing instantaneous actually on their side.
Roshan's up in 1 second, and already TNC They four-man smoke maneuver through their own jungle, but the fact the creep wave is pushed in to the bottom lane and there is no one defending it has flagged a lot of warning bells.
But there's no
for OG.
Huskar there. They might not expect them. Are TNC really bold enough to fight 4 on 5?
Miracle's bold enough to fight in the bottom lane. He TP'd down there. Battled against Nuclear for half a second. Down No Tail. Big avalanche catching a couple, actually killing the vengeful throw. The relocate save out. He gets him away. The Searing Chain is holding the Void in position. BS, he'll be able to TP out. Void does actually have a Blink Dagger and a TP scroll, and he goes to the other side of the cliff face. But this means TNC are a long way away from Roshan, who's just spawned up.
At least they'll have the Huskar this time, but they almost caught OG off guard with that, because they certainly did not expect them to fight without the Huskar there. TNC intentionally showed Huskar on the lane so they wouldn't be prepped for a smoke, but crit there, the save today.
Range IO. He didn't even use Blink Dagger for that one. It's close enough anyway.
It might also be like so he can like relocate in and then not get caught by the chronosphere, because like oftentimes you'll see the Faceless Void like position the chronosphere around the Tiny in such a way that the expected trajectory of the Wisp Feather caught.
VS and Dro got caught out. And it was only really the Ember who was in any kind of danger. Nortel just jumped in Viz nice and quick.
So now TNC looking for a fight around the Roche pit. They've sent the Hellbear Smasher inside the pit. They will get wind of Fly trying to walk in there, but I don't really know how they respond to this. They're very far away from the pit.
Right now, Nortel's trying to respond by killing off Raven. Walking up to the Dro Ranger. He's too far away, however. He needs to have the Ogre with him so he can toss him over.
Well, they just showed the Tiny, so they don't have enough damage to do Roche without the Tiny. Ember's like probably one of the worst mids at doing Roche.
It's amazing how much money Nortel's managed to accumulate. He's almost finished up his, in fact, Courier, once it makes his trip out, he has the full Assault Cuirass. Very, very big Tiny. We also hit nighttime, so Nortel can close the distance. Top lane, there's your Avalanche. Toss does not want to battle against Raven, however. Maybe he's just hoping to force a BKB charge out. There's still the 10-second BKB for Dro.
BKBs will not help against the eternal struggle of pushing out their lanes.
It's amazing how much money OG is still getting when the lanes keep booking in. Like TNC, they're farming only lanes, they're not getting anything else. Moon just finished a Scythe of Vice. Gold advantage is now over 15,000 in favor of OG. Just keeps building and building.
And they don't really have any AoE to clear stacks fast. They don't have the mobility. Huskar's even having enough trouble keeping a TP in his inventory, let alone like blinks and other tools that OG can use to keep on farming. And yeah, as you mentioned, like the net worth is getting out of control, but there's always still that Huskar factor up. Maybe he doesn't die in this fight.
Maybe OG doesn't find the perfect jump. But now they just don't seem to want to have any jump. They want to pick off like the scraps of the side of TNC. They're not even taking the risk of moving into Roshan, because if they go for that and TNC get a good chronosphere, they lock OG in a clustered area. Dangerous world for OG, and they give TNC a chance to potentially take Rack. Momentum to a Huskar and Dro Ranger.
At the same time, the Roshan pit could be TNC's downfall. Like there's a chronosphere on the side of the Radiant, but there's also the Darkseer vacuum wall onto that high ground, and without a Hurricane Pike, maybe or with a Hurricane Pike down, maybe like Dry Ranger might get caught up there. Huskar can definitely get caught up there with that relatively long cooldown on Life Break. I don't know if you can use it twice in that short of a span.
I'm interested to see what Dro's buying up, and it looks like he's actually going to go for a Skadi. Judging by the Orb of Venom, which is on the Courier headed north. Demon's also approaching, but he's still another 600 gold away from having a full mech. TNC.
Okay, well, Demon's places strange Tinker Ward on the bottom lane, and it will see Moon, so they know that Moon's just chilling there in the trees.
Can't do much about him, however.
Yeah. Well, actually, they know that the gem's there, because that sentry will just died. Else.
New with the farming, there's that AC finally purchased. Daedalus on Miracle with another 2.7k, so everyone is just still item progressing. They've stalled this up a lot. Still stopped for rolling in. Blink Dagger for the Ember. Another AC. This time it's going to come towards the Huskar. He'll have to drop his TP scroll to hold on to this.
TNC have to know that. Oh, actually, that ward.
Oh,
It's a
Miracle. Oh! Chrono barely missing. That's a difficult thing to get to gank an Ember. Normally is difficult when he's got a Blink Dagger against your Chronosphere, but to also gank Miracle, even more difficult. This guy uses 4 staffs to avoid Chronos.
Well, now, with that, it might be OG's time to go. Just waiting for one mistake from TNC.
TNC moving to the top lane. They're trying to fight up here before Notel and Crit can reply
Radiant's
to it.
bottom
Crit's still a
barracks
long
are
way
under
back,
attack.
and they're actually looking for Crit time dilation to start with. Notel will go invis.
Radiant's bottom
The bottom
barracks
lane is
are down.
under siege. You can look for these kills up on top lane. If they spend all their time hunting Crit, he can still tether away, which he'll do. Up the hillside, Vengeful Spirit, text up by Moon. And they will just walk away.
Even with the Observer Ward and the vision on OG, they cannot catch a break.
Why do I feel like we're just having a repeat of game 1? The shoe is on the other foot.
Yeah, that's kind of how this game's going. OG just playing with their food.
Enough TNC's really feeding him that much. And now it's time for Roshan. So OG, they have the confidence this time around just to slip into the pit. They have the damage because the timing is no longer on the top lane. Meanwhile on bot lane, and Miracle! That's a big one! Miracle will die. He's dead for a good 80 seconds, no buyback available. OG will at least have the advantage. They started Roshan before this happened, so TNC can't just move over and force an OG fight. Would have been a good time for it as well. Chrono's coming back off cooldown in 10 seconds time. And they throw it on no, actually Miracle now actually has his buyback, but Notel put out. They still have swap available, so if they want to hold Notel in close, they can do so. Faces void, Chrono's up, leaps forward, doesn't have really a great target to go on, and the relocate is there. Crit will take him back. They know Io is on the return.
I wonder if they're gonna like buy back IO or buy back on Ember and string a trap. Oh no!
They swap Fly in. They're looking for more. They're actually going to bring down Fly. With a Huskar jump, Void moves over. Chrono onto Crit. They really are just committing for one kill on the other. They don't care as long as they get the kill, which they'll be able to do so they get through the tier 2 tower. Buybacks available for all 3 players of OG, but their base is now under attack.
Dire's structures are
Buyback trying to scare TNC off, but without Miracle's name on the buyback.
The big wall! 3-man with the avalanche! Fly will arrive! They're buying time, still no Miracle! Pulled back, he has not done it yet, he's waiting in timeout. Cuckoo will battle against Crit. The cheese will keep him alive, also giving the regeneration to Notel, who's hunting the backline, keeping the throw range aura on the Cuckoo. He turns, the tower will drop, but Miracle is alive once again. And maybe TNC don't want to fight. The blink from Notel, he gets away, still gusted up. He'll get back to the tier 3 tower. Miracle looking to make the space moon again with another jump pin. But it's Cuckoo. It's the Huskar. You gotta fear him. Not to mention, fear Raven. That damage with a gust pushing Miracle away. The face is void on 30 life. He'll time walk off the damage. Raven in the trees. Notel will finally get a kill onto a TNC member. And Miracle will make it twice. Faceless Void dropping. Both TNC players, they have buyback too. But that patience from OG not bringing Miracle back in. Is Huskar actually out? He may go down. Tiny right behind him. He'll end up hitting him. Doesn't actually break the blood. The Cuckoo will stand his ground. Demon moves over, giving the Emperor armor. Now Notel. Does he bit not more than he can chew? With a shallow grave, you bet your Nelly. They're gonna go through more. Cuckoo, light break up in 2 seconds time. Flies in the tree line, slowed down by the Skadi. Miracle gusted up. This could be huge if they can find him. Cuckoo, light break, he lost the vision. Miracle got it around the tree line. He'll blink himself down and TP out. They will not catch the Ember Spirit.
These have been some amazing gusts from Raven though. Always catching the Ember Spirit off guard. And TNC sacrificed multiple lives to save their Huskar and expend a Drow buyback. But still, you can see how close they were to winning that fight. The net worth difference maybe not looking as bad as it seems, 15,000 in favor of OG, but all started off with a pick-off on the Ember Spirit, so anything's still possible in this game.
And TNC showing some beautiful class. Even if you had them in your predictions down at number 16, like right now they are showing high quality Dota neck and neck with a 2-time major winner OG.
Blink after the Aegis really saved them. They tried to time the Gust, but he only got silenced. He his blink didn't get disabled, and he was able to blink the other side of the fight where Huskar and Drow were not expecting him to be. If he just died a second time as an Aegis, like even if you buy it back, then like you're gonna lose that fight in terms of economic damage.
Money on Cuckoo. He's looking for the last bit of money to pick up the Reaver, and that will give him his full Satanic. Huskar has already been a bit of a nuisance for OG to get in the finals. You were mentioning as well, Malini. Just that one good shallow grave, the swap out, the timing for Huskar to survive. Now you add a Satanic to it. Damage increase needs to be there for Miracle. It actually looks like he's going for survivability, moving into a Skadi on him. Unless he's thinking about a Siphon Ember. Right now he should be thinking about an escape, which he does do so. All the way back home, away from the gang squad of TNC.
Radiant's bottom
Even on top of the
barracks are
grave and the swamp, they also have a pipe, a neck, like just all these small things that will help them survive.
Is Kurt trying to get these observer wards from TNC? There's another one on the top lane. We call them the Tinker wards because you just look for the Tinker who hides in the trees. Now they're actually being used to scout out the Io, as he sits a long way back waiting for a relocate save on the core in the lane.
It's also a very commonplace for Ember Spirits to hide as they're pushing out the lane and just waiting. Okay, they'll attack and then they'll slight and then they'll escape with Remnant or BOTs or whatever it may be. So, you know, it's a lot of faces void if you can actually catch him out and make use of it. We already saw the one with the one on bottom, and it's a lot of investment if you don't actually get any kills.
Mid lane, Miracle is calling.
It's free half damage.
Yeah. It has modification available, but you don't want to burn it for just that. And you still got to defend your bottom.
TNC no longer had that Elmo Dominator creep inside the Roche pit. Still a couple minutes away, but they actually, he has Satanic, so no way to scout there. I don't know how they're going to approach a Roche pit without knowing when it's going to be up, when OG are taking it, how low the Roshan is.
You need to do the MVP strat. You just buy like multiple helms to Dominator, leave them on the couriers back at base, and you can hold on to Dominator creeps.
If only he were that rich. Drow Ranger might actually have to go for HOD. It's Butterfly's pretty good too.
Build a Satanic on him too.
I think that some degree might actually be like that.
Oh, Chrono top lane, Miracle caught out. Again, good timing on the gust. Miracle held in position. He's down.
Not
95
respecting
seconds.
the void.
Yeah.
Oh, he got a Shadow Blade, that's why.
It slipped in.
It's like the best item to deal with a split pushing Ember Spirit, because if you're really quick, you can, like, if he blinks and he Chronos, he still has like a small cast point on the Chrono Spear, and then you can like slide into Remnant. But with the Shadow Walk, you can just walk up, and then I think like some of the cast animation happens while you're invisible, and it's just much more difficult to dodge.
Actually still aren't in a bad position. Like they've always got buyback on the Ember Spirit where Miracle's making these plays. The bottom is still just down to one melee. You've got the mid lane and top tower. Like they're both heavily injured. So it won't take much. In fact, you could just jump in with no tail and crit with a simple relocate, and you'll already force TNT to fall back.
It's just a bad precedent to set, though. Like, your Ember Spirits has died twice now. Last time they almost won that mid-fight. That was when OG had Aegis and Cheese. Now, they don't have Aegis, they don't have Cheese, and now it's a even longer respawn on the Ember Spirit. Is he going to have to buy back here? Are they going to have to lose a Rax? You don't want to be here.
They're trying to go for a trade-off. No-Tail's going into the bottom. No, wait, they're going for GG push. They're pushing onto the tier 4 towers. They put Cuckoo on the front line, and they may have enough. Here's your buyback from the Ember. The bottom melee is not down just yet. They try and fight the Darkseer back wall. Not enough from Moon to keep TNC in the mix.
No tail split pushing bottom, melee Rax already fallen.
This is a big advantage. The fact that TNC didn't take the mid. OG will have the lane equilibrium.
Who cares about Rax when you can go for Throne?
But is that what they're coming back in for again? The IO does have relocate, so Crit can bring No-Tail back at any time. And with Miracle up,
it might be a Throne race. No-Tail hitting on the T4s.
Can they really do this? TNC went back in, they finished up the melee in mid. So at least they get the counter, but then they actually go for the pull out to push back in again. A smoke, they're just looking for an advantage.
Just one more kill on Ember Spirit could be the end of this game. You don't want to be in that position. They traded 1-for-1 Rax and an Ember Spirit buyback. So OG heavily underhanded at this point in the game, especially with Roshan with another short respawn, just 15 seconds, and looks like Ayum will get wind of it. Nope.
And I'm loving this observer ward on bottom lane. Once again, the warning from TNC has been brilliant. They see the Tiny and the IO moving around, so Tiny, under the cover of Shadow Blade, he'll move up, he'll find Vengeful Spirit, he'll toss him, but then the Chrono moving down. Trip was able to find the kill, Moon backing, trying to keep the face void out, the find Miracle, and join in two for the kill. It's not enough for Raven, in fact now it exposes Raven. They move over, Tiny is his Blink Dagger available, Void will instantly buy back. Even though Chrono is not available, it might make OG think twice.
Oh, how was Moon there so quickly? Man. You had that Greaves, and you had the Scythe that just instantly killed the Faceless Void. No saving him from there. Now OG will be the benefactor of the very quick to respawn Roshan, and with an Aegis on Miracle, they are in small danger of losing this game.
This will be TNC's big test. They can't go out and contest Roshan. That is not possible. They have to defend high ground against Aegis, OG.
Yeah, it's not a good spot. All of the work that they've done for the past 5 minutes, setting up all those wars with the Shadow Blade reveal into the Chronosphere, everything now has been wasted after that.
It's also crazy to think they're played down mid, going for a full GG push, like attacking the tier 4 towers. The hilarious thing is, if they can keep enough alive and win a fight against OG inside their base, they can make a very quick push down mid.
They knew how to make OG panic though. Like they're like, hard P4's under attack. He's gonna buy back.
Yeah, do we go back and defend this?
That's what they really wanted though. They're just like, okay, now we just need the one mistake away from ending the game. Like Ember Spirit getting caught at the edge of his base is not one mistake away, because he can still buy back, and then so on and so forth. But they have to force multiple mistakes out from them, and they're one step forward, now one step back.
They're really trying to do something about the Shadow Blade. There are 8 sentry wards over on Demon at the moment. Dust just got picked by the Faceless Void. Do not want to be caught with their pants down again.
See Drow Ranger maxing out on items, and they're actually very slot challenged at this point. Huskar, I guess, can still build a Hurricane Pike, but yeah, this is going to be a trial. They try and weather the Aegis.
The lines which are being drawn out right now, like the attack is being drawn down by Fly, but the exact line that we're going to walk on was just drawn out by Demon. They understand exactly where they're moving. OG will scan up towards the Ancients. They're expecting TNC to be trying to find more money, but right now TNC are waiting patiently inside their base.
And only 4 heroes without buyback at this point. But one of them is very important OG, one fairly important to TNC. I still think they can win a fight without the Faceless Void, but will require elimination of one of the OG cores. The site's also a little bit problematic. They have like all these defensive items, they're like the pipe, the mech, and whatnot, but they don't actually have a Lotus Orb, which is one of the best counters towards the site of Mice. And maybe one of the supports looking to build one, but I don't know, they don't have any money. They also need to save for buyback.
They're kind of flat broke at the moment. Demon did enough just to finish up the mech, let alone looking towards a Vengeful Spirit. She finished the pipe instead.
And like the Scythe is gonna be able to disable them for a long time, come by that with like a vacuum wall afterwards, to leave the wall. That's a good 5-6 seconds where one of your important cores isn't doing damage, or Faceless Void just dies if he doesn't get a swap, which you ideally want to save for the Huskar. I don't know, they could pull some slick plays though. I can foresee them like going for like a swap into a Chrono or like a swap into a Gust.
Right now they use Raven as bait. Miracle almost biting. Got an Aegis Immortal, so he doesn't really care that much. He's quite happy to initiate in. He'll always come back. No doubt the sentry saw him. No opening.
He is BKB. He doesn't feel that scared. Now maybe even going for more shenanigans. BOT2s will be the item of choice for Huskar. Not opting for the Pike and not opting to replace the Armlet. So they're probably looking for like something cheeky with the Faceless Void here. BOTing onto him as he goes in for a Chronosphere. And you're just looking to put OG in that precarious position where they're one mistake away from losing.
Oh, no Tal. One hit, almost enough to kill the tower. Miracle gives it 2. Still at 1 HP, that tower. Nothing to work with at all. I'll end up denying it out. All the lanes being pressured. Moon was taking care of the bottom, and TNC, they're going to try and find any kind of opening. They don't have everybody with them, however. The Huskar's not in the neighborhood, and they just walk into No Tail. They'll break free. Tiny, well, there's your Shallow Graven and Chrono Speed. No Tail's caught out. Moon going to try and create the space and back into a 3-man wall, pulling into Sam, but Raven's still the man doing the damage. You can keep him locked in, but now Raven, the damage to Fly, will it be enough? You need this short range to do some lifting. Fly will drop. 2 heroes on the sideline. They buy back on the VS, almost finding the kill on the TPing out crit. Miracle also home safely. So that's 2 heroes down. Instant buyback comes out from the Tiny. Crit has relocate, so if they want to, they can just jump to the top lane. Fortification actually wasn't even burnt by TNC.
What a godly chrono from Sam. This is like one of the most high pressure situations that you're gonna be in as a Faceless Void, and he catches the 2 important cores. Ember Spirit on one end, Tiny on the other. And IO didn't seem to be close enough to go in for that relocate to save out the Tiny, and they will have to use a buyback. So that's a couple of deaths. They can just wait for Chrono to cool down. They weathered the Aegis, and now TNC back in a position of power.
See if they can hold the line for more time, however, and maybe control Roshan for the next time OG wants to slip over to it. Roshan's going to spawn up in 3.5 minutes, so again, another quick Roshan spawn time.
TNC have to keep their composure, though. They have to make sure that a lot of things don't happen. They have to make sure that observer wards aren't in their base, so OG can't jump them with like even a sneaky relocate. They have to make sure that the lanes aren't pushed out, so they can't backdoor with relocate. They have to make sure that OG doesn't get Roche. They have to make sure that Faceless Void doesn't die because he doesn't have buyback, nor does he have gold for the buyback. There's just so many things that could go wrong for TNC. Somewhere for OG, they have to make sure they don't get caught in Chrono. Most importantly, Tiny. And if like there's an excellent Chrono that like catches the Tiny and the Wisp, it could be a game over. Make sure Ember Spirit doesn't die. A lot of things, but they can play around the Faceless Void Chrono Spirit cooldown. I think that's actually the biggest thing on the side of TNC. He really needs to get a Scepter at this point, or Refresher. Maybe it's probably gotten to the point where Refresher is slightly better than Scepter, just because of how late it is, and a minute might not even be short enough for that cooldown.
It's just so hard to find him that high level of farm. Where are you going to get it from? Like right now, Husker and Joe Ranger are taking most of the farm, even if they don't really need it. Like, unless you're looking at a Moonshine purchase now from Raven so he can attack even faster, the Courier is making a trip up. I'd like to see what it's going to grab while OG look for a smoke gank. And I see a Demon Edge over on that Courier for Raven.
Rapier?
If he was going to buy a Rapier, would have sold something else. Like, he's still going to sell the S and Y. He might just be looking for Monkey King Bar.
Yeah, Monkey King Bar versus the solo turn.
Bottom lane, Cuckoo, out too far. Hit by that Silver Red. He'll have protection. BKB will come out. He needs more help, however, and it's coming into Void! He gets a 3-man Chrono, but they swap out No-Tail. This will allow Raven to attack into him, and No-Tail's so far away from the fight. The Tiny's down with no buyback. All that was lost was the BS and the Void. But you're still okay with that. You keep your 2 primary sources of damage up. Cuckoo and Raven. They will survive.
Crit. Awfully close.
He has a blink and a TP available, yet he's still waiting. What is he waiting for?
I'm not sure. He has to have a plan of some sort.
Relocates the hero down to himself?
Not sure. Maybe looking for like a Wisp explosion on someone, but I don't know who it would be. No one's really loving it. He's going
Courier
for
snipe?
Courier snipe.
That would be interesting to attempt.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to do it.
Demon
Here.
just put down the Observer Ward, so he doesn't see him. He's not close enough. And the Courier, well, with the creep wave, 1 attack, 2 attack, 3 attack, TP, and Demon, the Shadow Wave damage. It won't be enough. Courier snipe is real.
Cargo worth 0, nothing of value was on that Courier. They can easily rebuy one, so not the biggest deal. I think their cores are almost 600 anyways.
It's just the little things.
Yeah, the mind games. Miracle pressuring the left side. He has plenty of bullets. It might be Rapier territory for him soon.
Okay, hello, Cuckoo. I think Miracle's going to realize just how much damage Cuckoo can do, even without being low on life.
TNC are lacking so many items that would make this game so much easier for them. Scythe of Ice on the Ember Spirit would just be crucial to killing him. Blow to Sword to deal with their own Scythe of Ice, like BKB, Scepter on the Faceless Void. They're lacking a lot of items, but they're playing pretty well despite being at a significant disadvantage net worth. They're still 20k in the hole, but it doesn't feel like it. The Rags count is still even.
That's because TNC, they still have a lot to work with. Big amplification damage, great team fight control, a lot of sustain that comes from the VS and the Dazzle. All these things they keep using to like perfection, and it doesn't allow OG to finish it. All I want to see from Miracle is, yeah, there she is. We have ourselves a Rapier. Onto the Ember Spirit. We almost hit the hour mark as TNC. They'll enter the mid. Do they go for a GG push? Yep, they are. They're attacking the T4 towers. Are ready to jump forward. Chris, you need help now. That wall will be enough. Turkey's still there. The Chrono Spirit on two. Turkey right next to it. There's nothing to go down. No buyback. They go for the T1. Ember down. The Rapier's gone. It's all dead. And TNC done it. The impossible. Two-time major winners. You're gone. The Filipinos have eliminated OG. TNC have done the dream, the reality.
Wow, look at them cheering the booth. They have to be so incredibly happy with that win, and net worth does not matter that much anymore. Sam H with the Faces Void hit 0 kills on him, but all of those Chronospheres on all of those cores, OG eliminated on day number 2.